Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Going to briefly take a break here on the whole modern progressive art rock albums list, which I'm getting through. To just talk about, and I talked about in the most recent video that I put up earlier today, the artist Vonavi, Ukrainian musician. I believe his name is Andre, or let me look that up real quickly. Something like that. Vonavi is his last name. Unfortunately, he's pretty, yeah, Andre Ivanov, actually. Vonavi's not, I don't know. Anyway, he put out just a fantastic, to me at least, debut album in 2019 called Reflection. It's my album of the year. And he's from Ukraine, as I just mentioned. And so you can imagine, I've talked about it in some video blogs and some other videos at points ever since that war started. And I follow him on Instagram, and his presence online, his social media presence, is primarily on Instagram for my impressions. He has Facebook and Twitter, and I'm not sure about TikTok. But anyway, the thing is with Reflection, it was a great record, and he had released a couple singles early in the year, because it came out in November of 19, or like the year or two before that. The videos are just haunting, and they're really, it's hard not to feel like sympathy. And it's interesting that now he's sort of living amongst this very difficult conditions, being in the middle of this war. I'm not sure what more specific area in the Ukraine. I can't remember where he's from exactly. I mean, I don't know the geography that well. But anyway, he's posted about it here and there, like almost since it started. And I'm just, like I've said a couple times, I forget the music. I just want him to survive and get through this, but not have to necessarily leave his home and everything. But so anyway, the reason why I'm talking about him, because he has a new album that just came out called Reset. I follow him on Instagram. I see his posts regularly, both on the normal post and on the little, stories at the top that are temporary. Those videos typically are just images. And I know he was working on a new record. I mean, like before the war started, he'd been talking about the last, I want to say at least a year and a half. Kind of funny, because when I didn't start using Instagram until like 2019. I put the cover of his, which was my album of the year, Reflection, as like the second thing I posted on my Instagram page. Anyway, he'd been talking about it, even around the time that Reflection came out. He's like, his next record he's already working on. His music specifically, for people who don't know Vonavi, is largely, you could say, electronic and piano, atmospheric, new agey at points, sort of, but it's not really, I wouldn't call it happy music. New age music can be sort of bright and happy, but it's very textured and a lot of electronic and, you could say, computer, we'll call it computer generated, but he uses a lot of sampling and software to, come up with his compositions. The only thing is he does feature, like Never Ending White Lights and some other artists, specific singers on his albums to do the vocals. More specifically, a gentleman named Run Rivers. I forget what his real name. He's the singer from the British band Stateless, who really aren't an active band anymore. His real name is Chris James, I think. Run Rivers, though, interestingly enough, frequently, I follow him on Instagram, and he posts like songs on Spotify and links frequently. I don't know. He's sang on either his own or other people's music, like maybe a dozen or more songs over the last 3 or 4 years, since the end of you could say the end of Stateless. But Lorna Rose is another one who was on the Reflection from 2019. So this new album, Reset. So I'm just kind of getting at, I knew it was coming at some point, but I think the war, largely the war, but maybe some other factors probably impacted how soon it was going to come out. But he just announced today it's out, and I'm like, I'd seen some of the singles. The a couple of the singles had come out maybe even a year ago or a little less than a year, like earlier this year. But I sometimes don't always get everything in my feed, and so I might have missed an announcement within the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so I thought maybe it was going to be next year. I was actually kind of looking forward to that as a big release for next year, which is kind of good and bad in a way because it kind of takes one name off the list that I was really excited about for 2023. But I've already done the albums of the year. It might end up having to be on that or something. I don't know. So it's called Reset. It came out today, Friday, December 9th, 2022. It's like 8 songs, 37 minutes, and 34 seconds. And I've listened to it twice. It's on Spotify. I'll try to leave a link in the description. It's probably iTunes and a couple of the others. You'd have to go to his Instagram to verify where else it is. Let's see here. But it's not on Bandcamp at this point. I would hope it will be. Let's see if I can. I know it's on his like Linktree or whatever you call it. There's like, yeah, Linktree, linktr dot what is it? linktr.ee. Yeah, he's got. He's got the War Diary donation. Because he's amongst he's amongst this the fighting, the gunfire, whatever else has been going on. I gotta believe it's just gotta be just hellish. But I suppose at some point you grow numb to it and you're just sort of used to it and just praying every day that it will end. Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, and Napster of all places. Wait, there might be some more. Tidal, yeah, YouTube Music has it now. Boomtunes, iTunes. I don't know the difference between Apple Music and iTunes. iTunes is even still around. One you can download and one you just stream. Boomplay, Angami. Anyway, there's a bunch of services. I'll link this to the description. But getting into the album itself, and I was very tempted, but I haven't gotten around to actually revisiting Reflection today. I can say right now I don't like it as much as Reflection, for whatever, to be fair and honest. I do like it though. I do like a lot of it. Style-wise, it's similar, of course. Yeah, 'cause it's kind of is in his DNA, that musical DNA. Using the piano as textures and having the atmosphere and everything, and having these vocalists. You have Run Rivers on song "Still with Me," "Our Love," "Reset," the title track "Reset." So those 3. Then you have Lorna Rose, who is on Reflection, on the song "Ghost," and that's just it looks like. And then you have another singer who I'm not familiar with, named Paul Mullen, on a song called "Arm in Arm," and then the last 2 tracks, "Dream" and "The Now." So that's similar, of course, although Paul Mullen I don't believe was on Reflection. He's got a pretty good voice, although nothing amazing, but it fits the song, some of the songs he's on. There's one song called "Overload," which I thought it had vocals, but maybe it doesn't. That might be my favorite. And I know that was a single. I think they did a video for that even. I should go back. It's kind of industrial sounding, but not overly heavy, and the atmosphere really works well. My other kind of favorites, "Still with Me" is pretty good. "Ghost" with Lorna Rose, I'm enjoying that a lot. Sort of the outro of that song, it's really wonderful. The sort of string arrangements, because that was what I was going to say. Is this album? I kind of get the impression has a little more strings than Reflection, but I haven't listened to Reflection for a few years, really, because it's a mood record. But the closing track, "The Now," "Dream" is probably the one song I'm struggling with, because Paul Mullen, the second half of it, does this like whispering, and it's a little bit too close to my ear, and so I don't know how often I'm going to revisit that. I like the first half of it. The title track with Run Rivers is nice. So "Arm in Arm," that's the only other one with Paul Mullen I didn't heart on Spotify. I've only listened to it a couple times, but I'm liking it. A friend of mine, when I told him about the album Reflection a few years ago, was comparing it to 07, who I've never really spent a lot of time with. But, it's not instrumental music, but electronic ambient, atmospheric, textured. A lot of it is sort of, done on through software. Though some of the songs, like the last song, Now, it does sound like there's the Now rather has some real drums. I don't know. It's a mood record, just like Reflection. I think I'll try to go back to it some, and it is a 2022 album, so we just did the albums of the year a few weeks ago. I've listened to the new Queensryche album. I might sort of do a little redux, just do a video where I say these are the albums that are going to be in there. Otherwise, I might just do a list of albums that I didn't. I heard later, like Giant Sky and Mask of the Phantasm last year, or earlier this year rather, and I think Black Country New Road was another one, and Black Midi. But it came out of nowhere unexpectedly. I don't know if this is the album he's been working on, and this is it. I can't remember, because he's put out a few different singles. One of them was Overload. I think one of them might have been Ghost. I forget. But I'm totally happy he put out something, and he's probably proud of being able to release something, given the climate and the conditions. Hopefully, the war will. Some things will get better, and the conditions and the environment. I kind of wonder with this record, with this follow-up, that his sort of intentions for it might have been more than what it was. I think the Reflection was well received, at least among some communities. The communities that are really into that kind of electronic, atmospheric, atmospheric music, that community specifically, which I'm not that versed in. I've limited. It's a little like the trip hop element is in there, so the trip hop community. Stuff like Archive is kind of in this similar vein, but this is less energetic than Archive and less heavy. Or one other band that I was thinking of, or like DJ Shadow. I'm sure he was a fan of DJ Shadow, and he probably likes his share of hip hop. But I think he was maybe intending to bring in some other singers and maybe more instrumentation even than that was on here. But I do notice there's at least some pretty tasteful, what's the word? Besides tasteful anyway, string arrangements on this. And there's some trumpet. There's some trumpet at the end. Oh, what song was it again? I can't remember. The title track that I really, another part of that song I really appreciated. So, Reset. So yeah, Vonavi's Reset, he's a really obscure musician, but I think more people would probably be able to get into it. People that have ever heard of Stateless, obviously, but the Stateless fan base have kind of whittled down, and I don't know, they've gone somewhere else. But so that came out today kind of unexpectedly. I'm really happy that it did, though. I will be doing a video on 2023 albums relatively soon, but it's sort of, they're coming here and there, but it's kind of, it's usually we hear stuff in December, but usually it's like right after Christmas or New Year's when we'll get, some surfacing more ideas. The Stephen Wilson album Harmony Codex is coming out. I/O from Peter Gabriel, likely, just there's no confirmation. The tour is going to be happening first. There's some other records, but Vonavi, of course, isn't going to be on that album. But I'm just going to finish that up, and then I got some other. I finished that first list, that thing I posted on the community page. There's one other thing. Well, I'm working on Silicon Valley. Once I finish Silicon Valley, I'll have to do some epic review on that. Just switching gears to television. That movie with what's her name from? It's called. There's a movie coming out next week. It has like a word, like a food word in it. I sent my wife a message. I'm totally spacing on what the name of it is. That's supposed to be coming out. It's about like amnesia and stuff like that. It's called, I think I mentioned in a previous video, actually. No, that wasn't it. Yeah, it's called The Almond and the Seahorse Trailer. I still am interested in that. It's with Rebel Wilson and Charlotte Gainsbourg, who Charlotte Gainsbourg I really liked in The Science of Sleep. And I don't know, I may start to do some film lists and stuff like that, and television lists. That might just be fun to kind of switch gears at some point, whether stick like to 80 to 90% music. But yeah, that's the Almond and the Seahorse is supposed to be hitting theaters. I think it's a week from today. Today's the 9th, yeah. But my wife isn't interested, so I'll be on my own. But anyway, but thank you for watching. If you're curious, or you probably haven't heard Vonavi or heard of, check out maybe the Sunburst video from the last album on YouTube, or check out Reflection. I think it's on a lot. It's on, of course, Spotify and a lot of the other platforms. Or check out the new record. You know, it's like Ghost or Overload would probably be, or maybe the title track would be the tracks that I would go to. And I'm adding it to my songs list for 2022. So that's another video that I probably plan to make at some point in the near future. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'll see you next time.